Hi everyone, and welcome to this stakeholder webinar for the DiscussAI Public Engagement Programme. We're delighted to have you with us this morning. I'm Grehan, and I'm Education and Public Engagement Manager at ADAPT. ADAPT is the Science Foundation Ireland Research Centre for AI-driven digital content technology. It brings together leading academics, researchers and industry partners to deliver world-leading innovation in AI and digital content. Over the next 40 minutes or so, we'll introduce you to our new DiscussAI campaign and the programme of upcoming events. We'll also help you to understand how your organisation can participate in the programme and have your say on the future of artificial intelligence research and innovation in Ireland. Our running order for this morning is as follows. I'll begin by introducing you to DiscussAI and let you know how you or your organisation can participate. I'd like to highlight that while today's webinar is primarily targeted at education and civil society organisations, we're very much open to collaborating with companies, researchers or public engagement professionals from outside ADAPT. And we'd encourage you to get in touch with us if you've an interest in any element of the programme. We're delighted to be joined this morning by Dr. Ruth Freeman, Director of Science for Society at Science Foundation Ireland. Ruth will introduce Creating Our Future, the wider government-backed campaign to create a national conversation on research in Ireland. Rob Brennan, funded investigator with ADAPT at DCU, will share his experience of participating in citizen researcher dialogue on AI and how it's enhanced his work. And Julie Power, patient representative with Vasculitis Ireland, will outline how she's benefited from participating in the co-creation of content for citizens thinking on digital health records with us earlier this year. And we'll wrap things up then by taking your questions and reminding you of the ways in which you can contribute to DiscussAI. So what exactly is AI and why is it important for citizens to have a say on its development and use? Well, AI was once the preserve of science fiction, presenting either imaginative or nightmarish visions about the future. Today, it's very much a reality and it's increasingly a major part of our daily lives. While many people are excited about the promise and potential of AI, others are confused and concerned. How will it transform our world and will it be for the better? And this is an important question, and DiscussAI invites members of the public to join with leading experts from ADAPT to explore the world of AI and how we can shape our future. The following short video from the Royal Society in the UK outlines why it's so important for citizens to consider and voice their opinions on the development and use of AI.
These are exciting times for artificial intelligence, or AI. But what is AI? AI is the science of making machines smart, using algorithms to allow computers to solve problems which used to be solved only by humans. AI already powers search engines, online shopping recommendations, and digital assistants. Radiologists can use AI to calculate the exact shape and volume of tumors, revolutionizing treatment. Astronomers use AI to find and evaluate exoplanets in distant solar systems. And unhappy motorists are using it to discover if they can overturn parking fines. The possibilities of AI are endless, from fraud prevention to developing new strategies to address climate change. AI technologies today are brilliant at analyzing vast amounts of data to learn to complete a particular task, a technique called machine learning. But AI is not good at transferring what it's learned from one type of task to another, learning abstract concepts and one-shot learning, where a general rule is learned from a single experience, the sort of broad intelligence humans excel at. But even without achieving this broad intelligence, AI is raising questions. How might AI affect work? People will still be needed in the workplace, but jobs and roles are likely to change as some tasks become automated and new jobs are created. There is a risk that, at least in the short term, this could increase inequality if some people are disproportionately affected and benefits aren't widely shared across society. And what about social equality and fairness? Bias coming from AI systems, even if unintentional, could disproportionately affect some social groups, influencing anything from job prospects to treatment by the justice system. Technology can play a role in helping to manage bias, but people need to address big questions about how society wants to use AI. Technology with AI at its heart has the power to change the world. The more of us that engage with shaping its development, the more chance we have to ensure a better, fairer future with AI.
So the aims of DiscussAI then are to enable the Irish public to learn about AI and acquire relevant skills in areas including data literacy, to participate in a national conversation on AI and have a voice in this vital area of research. And the discussion outcomes will aid our researchers in steering the direction of the research, potentially changing the direction of AI in the future. DiscussAI will run from September to December this year. I'll now introduce you to the key elements of the programme. Let's look first at our programme for adults. Our citizens' think-ins are public forums that enable discussion, dialogue and deliberation around societal implications of AI. Participants need no previous knowledge of AI, as we'll provide an introduction to it and to the innovations that are the focus of the discussion scenarios during the events. The think-ins consist of a short introductory presentation, small group discussion of 1 or 2 scenarios, and then a whole group deliberation. We'll be running think-ins nationwide over the next couple of months on topics including digital health information and AI and privacy. If you're interested in participating, you can register via our website, or if you have a group that you'd like to participate in a think-in, do get in touch with us and we can discuss options. Our second programme is Debunked. Now, data literacy skills are vital for us to correctly interpret information and recognise misleading information when we see it. In today's ever more data-driven world, these skills are crucial. However, they're rarely taught to most of us. So in an effort to tackle this universal problem, ADAPT is partnering with Trinity's Grand Canal Innovation District to run informative and fun workshops to help people uncover these instances of fake news. And you can get details of upcoming Debunked workshops at the website link you see here. Running from October to December, the Bias exhibition at Science Gallery Dublin will explore AI, ethics, trust and justice. ADAPT researchers and visual artists have collaborated to build interactive research installations that will interrogate how bias moves from human to machine. And this promises to be a fascinating free exhibition. We look forward to welcoming you to visit. And now our programme for young people. AI in My Life is a transition year module that will engage students in a dialogue around societal implications of emerging technology innovations. It'll also provide them with an insight into how academic research impacts their lives. It'll empower them to protect their digital privacy and encourage them to consider choosing STEM subjects for the Leaving Certificate and beyond. The content was created by ADAPT along with the DCU Access Service, the Integrity Project, the Lira Research Centre and the Future of Privacy Forum. And most importantly, it was co-created with transition year students to ensure that it's interesting and relatable for their counterparts. The full workshop series is being piloted with 20 schools in the DCU Access Network, but we're making an online toolkit available, including course content, lesson plans, and activities. Further information is available on the website link that you see here. Our other 2 schools programmes focus on development of skills that are vital to understanding and development of AI, and these are primarily problem-solving skills. ADAPT's All-Ireland Linguistics Olympiad, or ALO, challenges second-level students to use logic and ingenuity to solve complex problems in unfamiliar languages. Schools can register online now at alo.adaptcentre.ie, and we'll be sending out free puzzle packs for your students to try out in or outside the classroom. We'll also be running regional problem-solving workshops designed to help increase students' confidence in tackling complex problems. And we're delighted to announce that we're planning a new TY linguistics module. You can contact us at alo@adaptcentre.ie if you're interested in the Olympiad or the new TY module. And finally, we've Happy Maths, which are problem-solving workshops for primary school students. Our educational technology researchers at TU Dublin have developed a suite of digital educational games that are designed to enhance students' problem-solving skills and also reduce anxiety around the learning of maths. We're collaborating with public libraries in Kildare to deliver these workshops during Maths Week in October, but we'd also love to hear from you if you're interested in trying out the games in your school. And you can contact us at education@adaptcentre.ie. So that's a flying tour of our DiscussAI programme for the months ahead. We hope that you found elements of the programme that appeal to you or that you feel will be a good fit for your organisation. Ways in which you can participate include by attending an event, and you can see our full programme of upcoming events at adaptcentre.ie/DiscussAI. You might also consider hosting an event for your organization or in your locality, and we'd be very happy to look to explore that idea with you and see how we could support you. You can simply email us at discussai@adaptcentre.ie to get the ball rolling on that. And if you have a research idea about AI, you can submit the idea to the Creating Your Future website, creatingyourfuture.ie. So I'd like to thank you for your attention. I'm pleased to now introduce you to Dr. Ruth Freeman, who's Director of Science for Society at Science Foundation Ireland. Ruth will tell us about the wider Creating Your Future national conversation on research in Ireland. So over to you, Ruth.
Thanks very much, Laura. And I have to say that it's such an exciting program of events. I'm going to definitely make sure that I get out to some of them as well. And it's such an important topic to get people talking about. So it's really, it's great to see. And thanks to everyone at the ADAPT team for putting so much work into creating a great program. So as you say, I work at Science Foundation Ireland, and we are supporting the government on a new national campaign about discussing research. I suppose so DiscussAI fits so nicely into this. The campaign is called Creating Our Future, and it started, I suppose, as an idea a number of years ago, and it's something we had seen done in other countries. It was done in Flanders, in the Netherlands, in New Zealand, and the idea was, often research is a bit in the background. So I think we see where research is used all around us, but often as citizens, we don't necessarily link back to all the research that's going on behind it. And I suppose even think about the concept that we could shape the kind of research that we fund in public research bodies. And I think we feel very strongly at Science Foundation Ireland as a public body that the public have a right to get involved in these kind of discussions and have a right to put their views about these topics to researchers. I think as well, I mean, as researchers, I came from a research background myself, you know, we all come into research with our own experiences and biases, and we don't necessarily, you know, understand everything about all the areas we might be looking into. And I think it's also really important the other way. It's very beneficial for researchers to hear from people from all different walks of life and who've had all different kinds of experiences, and feed that into designing the kind of work that they're going to do. So Creating Our Future is a government-led initiative. It was launched and has been spearheaded by Minister Simon Harris in the new Department for Further Higher Education, Research, Innovation and Science. It's the first of its kind in Ireland. And I just want to kick off by, if I can, showing you a very short video, which hopefully will give you the essence of the campaign. So I'm going to just see if I can share my screen now, and hopefully you'll all just be able to see this very short little video.
Anyone, anywhere can have a great idea for the future. But when all of our ideas, thoughts and experiences come together to inspire researchers, that's when we create a better future for all. Join Ireland's biggest brainstorm by visiting creatingourfuture.ie and tell us what researchers in Ireland should explore to create a better future. Anyone, anywhere can have a great idea for the future.
I'll just
Anyone.
Stop that there. It went on a loop. Hopefully you could see that it was a little bit jumpy. And if you didn't see it there, it's out on a lot of the media channels at the moment. So what are we asking people to do? We're asking people all over Ireland, I suppose, to do two things. One is obviously just to submit their own ideas, which they may have. And you can do that, as Laura said, directly on a special portal that's been set up, creatingourfuture.ie. But I suppose the other side of it is to have conversations or join in conversations about research and about, I suppose, what are the areas that we need to explore to make sure that we can have the future that we want here in Ireland and globally. So a bit like the DiscussAI program, there's going to be a series of events kicking off, which will be all over the country for the next number of months. In fact, between now and the end of November, when the portal closes. So if, again, on the creatingourfuture.ie website, there'll be a list of all of the different events and dialogues that will be happening all over the country, and we would be delighted, you know, if you could also, you know, reach out to your member networks and invite them if there's other areas of science and technology as well as AI that they would like to get involved in discussing. There'll be a whole series of events that they can get out to there. I think we hope that the ideas that come in will be varied. I think when we started the campaign, we thought a lot of ideas might come in around people thinking of problems they needed solved. But as well as that, which we're very interested in hearing, we also want to hear about opportunities that your networks might see for research where we can do things better. And of course, we're also interested, I mean, research at its heart is about curiosity and finding out more. What are the areas that people are curious about and would like scientists to invest their time finding out more? And in fact, I say scientists, I default to that. It's not just about science. It's in fact about any kind of research. So it could be cultural research about how we protect the Irish language, or, you know, what makes us a people all together. So it really is very, very broad. We're interested in everybody's ideas. So you might ask, well, what's going to happen with all of these ideas? And we're hoping to get thousands and thousands of them. Well, they will all go to a whole series of expert committees who will look at those ideas and group them together into a final report, which will be overseen by an independent committee. And that report will go to government, of course, and I think it will do a number of things. It will hopefully inspire researchers. I think in Flanders, they called their report a book of inspiration at the end. And I thought that was quite nice, because in many ways, researchers themselves want to understand what people are interested in. So I think it will be a book of inspiration for Irish researchers, absolutely. But also, you know, Simon Harris has committed that this report will inform strategy and policy for Ireland as he sets the direction for research in Ireland over the next number of years. And I think finally, you know, we are hoping, you know, Science Foundation Ireland has been rolling out challenge-based funding, which is essentially using research to, you know, to tackle very specific issues. We hope that there will be new funding that will come, which will be, you know, focused on areas identified in this report. And we think that could also be a very important outcome. And as well as that, I think there's going to be an important communication piece. So, you know, these areas that the public highlight that they're interested in, we will also put greater efforts into creating platforms for dialogue about those topics, so that the dialogue doesn't end at the end of November, you know, because really, you know, research, science, these things are going to impact on all of our lives over the next decades. They're going to impact how we manage our future work lives, how we manage climate change, how we manage AI and all these kind of technologies. And we can't just have one conversation about them and move on. We need to keep the dialogue going. And I think this book of inspiration will also inspire us to keep those conversations going about these really important topics. So I would just really, again, if you've any questions, you can contact us through the creatingourfuture.ie website. You can contact us on social. You know, I would absolutely encourage you and your organizations to get involved, because it's an opportunity to have your voice heard and highlight the areas that are really important to you. So again, it was great to be here today. Thanks very much to Laura and the ADAPT team for having me.
Thanks so much, Ruth. I think it was great to be able to hear a little bit more about the Creating Your Future campaign. I love the ad, and I've seen quite a bit of it on the TV. And just to say on that point around feedback and so on, in this particular event as well, if anyone has any questions or comments, feel free to pop them into the chat, and we'll take them in the Q&A then towards the end of the session. We'll move on now to Rob Brennan is an associate professor of computing at Dublin City University, and he's a funded investigator with the ADAPT Centre. And Rob is going to share his perspective of working on one of our new projects for this year, AI in My Life. And he's going to share his perspective, the researcher perspective, on what it's been like to work on such a public engagement programme. So over to you, Rob.
Great, thanks very much, and thanks for the opportunity to speak, Laura. As you said, we have been spending the last year, mainly since April, developing this new program for TY students in order to bring discussions on AI and privacy into the classroom, and to link them and their teachers up with new sort of learning resources around those topics. And although I've spent a long time engaging with research, and through the Research Centre have been involved in various citizen engagement projects, this is the first time I've led an activity that is totally focused on education and public engagement. And so it's been a great learning experience for me. One of the highlights has been the ability to work with our colleagues in the DCU Access Service. And their whole focus is on facilitating entrance to third level by underrepresented groups. It's one of the things that DCU does really well. But when you work in a large organization like DCU with 3,000 staff, it's easy, you know, not to get to meet your colleagues in different departments. So that's been an immediate benefit for me. Then working in order to develop the program, we used this co-creation workshops with a bunch of last year's TY students in order to inform what was going on. And as a researcher, you know, we get this thing about being in ivory towers and being away from everyone. And of course, this means that we're right there in the Zoom call, at least, with these kids.
Laura, I think Rob might have frozen for everyone there. So what we might do is I might get Julie up and we can go back to Rob in a couple of minutes.
Yeah, let's do that. That's what I see the comment there that he's frozen for everyone, unfortunately. So
yeah,
we'll do that. He's popped off and will hopefully rejoin and we can recommence his presentation. So sorry, Julie, to get you up to a little bit earlier than we had anticipated. But let's go on ahead and I'll introduce Julie Power, who's a patient representative with Vasculitis Ireland. And we were delighted at ADAPT earlier this year to have the opportunity to work with Julie to bring a citizen perspective, I suppose, into the creation of a citizen's thinking on digital health records. So we're delighted to have Julie with us today to share her perspective and her experience and what she's got out of working with ADAPT to co-create content for the thinking. So over to you, Julie.
Okay, thank you very much, Laura, and thank you for the opportunity to speak here today. I'm Julie Power, I'm a patient advocate. I was diagnosed in 2005 with granulomatosis, polyangiitis, vasculitis. And then in 2010, I set up Vasculitis Ireland Awareness because it was very difficult to find anybody else that lived with the same condition as myself. So anyway, at that organisation, we provide support to people and we try to raise awareness of vasculitis, and then we work very closely with other patient groups and clinicians and researchers and policymakers to try and improve the management of vasculitis in Ireland. So I was delighted in February to be asked to be involved in this project. So if you move to the next slide, I'll just tell you a little bit about the project. So it was, what is my health information? It was run by ADAPT. The organising team included ADAPT researchers, healthcare professionals, academics and patient representative. And basically we wanted to find out what the public opinion was on what was considered to be digital health information and how was it currently collected, who collects the information and how should access be controlled. And also consider things like, do we include things like wearable technology data? So next slide, please. Next slide, yeah, thank you. It was very important to me that there would be an outcome, a usable outcome from this. So we had 2 workshops. So the first workshop that we had was to look at digital health data and find out the public's perspective of what it was. And then the information that was gathered from that workshop was used to frame the scenarios that were discussed in the thinking. And then the thinking was used to help bring public perception of digital health data to the fore in future research so that it is more responsive to the public needs. So I have to admit to taking a line from Gay Stevens for that one. So what did I expect whenever I was asked to join the team? Well, I had previous experience working with ADAPT. I've been involved in a research project in which ADAPT is involved with as well. So I was very lucky in that I knew some of the team already. So that was a big help for me joining the team. What I expected was to find out what was the purpose of the thinking. And then how would it be delivered? Like, was it going to be online, or was it going to be surveys, or what type of delivery were we thinking about? And also that it was really important that there'd be multiple variables taken into consideration whenever we were doing this project. So can go to the next slide. And what did I learn? So I learned that there were very many different perspectives to take into consideration. And this was like to make sure that we had people from different backgrounds within health, location, education, that this needed to be a meaningful co-production. And I felt that this project was a meaningful co-production because we actually used the public to define the frames for the final workshop. The importance of planning and feedback. I was amazed at how many meetings we had to organize these workshops, but each meeting was really important because we all knew exactly what we had to do when it came to the workshops. There was a facilitation workshop run by Sticky Dot. And again, this was really good because it gave us lots of information on how to be able to engage our participants and how to get the most out of the workshops, the thinkings, and how to use different technologies to be able to make the most out of these workshops. So for example, whenever we were doing them, we used the Padlet for taking the notes during the discussion groups. So this meant then that we had a record ready for delivery, for feedback to the group at the end of the session, rather than, you know, like having to go away and compile the notes and everything. So everybody knew exactly what was going on at all times. I think another important factor was that before the workshops were run, there was an awful lot of attention to detail in the wording of how to launch it and in the social media, and also that any participants received information on the workshop before they actually attended, so that they were on the ball right away. There was no, you know, like time wasted really, and we got the most from the public. So the next slide. So the impact of the involvement in the project, for me personally, I was much more informed about organising workshops in the future, and I feel much more confident in running workshops now. It was realising the different perspectives of digital patient records and the very many diverse points of view. So, and then for the participants, it was important for the individuals that were taking part to be aware of digital records, what they were, who owns them, content within them, and who has access and how they're used. And I think it really kind of threw up the whole idea of consent and transparency. And again, then awareness of the different quality of digital patient data. So, you know, like we have hopefully in the future, we will have digital medical records, and we have our own home monitoring systems, you know, blood pressure, blood sugar, things like that. But then we also have things like the wearable technologies. And, you know, like, do we rely on that kind of information to be stored as our digital patient data? I suppose one of the things for the wearable technologies is that it gives you a long-term view of how a person is, that is, you know, like is lacking in the other digital records that we have. So I felt that it was a very thought-provoking exercise. I really did feel that it was one of the most co-produced or co-created workshops that I have been involved in. I felt that all opinions were considered. And I would encourage anybody to take part in any of these kind of workshops in the future. I know, like, for some of our members and some of our, you know, like, especially like people that wouldn't be so used to technology and that they might feel a little bit intimidated by it, but the whole process is really, it's really well run. And there is no such thing as, you know, like a silly question or a wrong answer. Your opinion is your opinion, and we need every opinion to get good, reliable information. So, and that's me. So thank you very much for listening.
Thanks for that, Julie. I think you did a great job in highlighting how the collaboration on the citizens thinking was really mutually beneficial for you and for other patients, and also provided really good research insights for the ADAPT researchers who worked alongside you on it. And we're looking forward to the opportunity to meet you in person in the not too distant future. It's all been done online. And just on that point, to highlight that the DiscussAI program of events will be a mixture of online, hybrid, and in-person events. So that's clearly indicated on our website. So I see, thanks again, Julie. I see we've Rob back there after having a couple of technical issues. Rob, are you happy to take over from where you left off? Great.
Sure, thanks. Switched to phone now, so less stable. Anyway, as I said, to get that contact with what was going on the ground, connected to my own research priorities, and see how open people were to discussing those topics was really interesting. It also brought me into closer collaboration with some of my research colleagues, because of course, you know, when you're talking to the public, it's a more sort of broad discussion that you want. So by bringing in colleagues that were experts on cybersecurity and machine learning, whereas I was more on the data privacy, data governance, it meant that it became a team effort and we learned from each other. In terms of the impacts of the program, I'm hoping that, of course, we'll stimulate some more discussion and interest in STEM careers for people, as well as enabling good sort of digital citizens that are able to engage with the world that we see around us as it's changing. And it's also helped at a research level, as we said, the Future Privacy Forum, which is a privacy think tank in the US, developing policy and discussing things with educators and lawmakers and industry, and trying to find a path through, a kind of agreed path through all the privacy challenges that greet us as a society. It meant that we got to engage more closely with them, and that will be leveraged in future research applications that we'll be doing. And finally, you know, we've put in, of course, to SFI, to Ruth and her team, an application for funding for next year to expand the program to include even more sort of citizen science aspects, where the participants in the program, not only will their ideas go back to us, but also we'll actually engage them in helping us do some of our research in terms of monitoring and finding out attitudes to privacy and the use of new technology in the Irish public. So it's been a great experience for us. So that's it, Laura.
Brilliant. Thanks for that, Rob. And I know this is a particularly busy week for you. We've the first schools starting into the AI in My Life workshop series this week. So thanks very much for your time on it. Just to say, if anyone has any questions or any comments, feel free, please, to pop them into the chat there. I'll give you a couple of minutes to do so, and then we'll just recap on the ways in which you can engage with the Discuss AI campaign and the wider Creating Our Future national campaign. I don't see any questions coming in. Maybe I'll do a recap, and it'll maybe give you an opportunity to tap in a couple of questions there if you have any. So Anne, if you wouldn't mind bringing up our recap slide there. So just a quick recap, if you're interested in participating in Discuss AI, you can find details of all of our events on the Discuss AI website, which is adaptcentre.ie/DiscussAI. You can also contact us directly via email on discussai@adaptcentre.ie. Remember that you could submit a research idea relating to AI or any other topic to the Creating Our Future website. And you can also find out about events on other subject areas that will be running between now and the end of this year. And don't forget that there is a Creating Our Future community activation and researcher activation events taking place next Thursday, and you'll find details of those on the Creating Our Future website. I don't see any questions coming in there, so I presume everybody is kind of happy that they've a good sense of what both Discuss AI and Creating Our Future involve. Sorry, I see there's a question there that has come in. What was the most, to our panelists, so what was the most surprising thing that we discovered about taking part in the programme? Have any other speakers any thoughts on that? And also one on how will the ideas in Creating Our Future be used? Ruth, are you happy to take that question?
Yeah, I was going to say I'm happy to take that. I mean, yeah, so all the ideas from Creating Our Future will go to a series of expert committees and a final committee, really to be grouped. So not really to be filtered out, really just to be put together in a sensible arrangement, because of course we'll get hopefully some similar ideas from different people. And then those will come out in a report. And of course that report we're hoping will inspire researchers to take on those ideas, but is also going to feed in to the new government strategy for research. And we hope will also unlock some new funding so we can actually get researchers working on some of those ideas.
Great. Rob, is there anything particularly surprising that you came across while working on AI in My Life?
Sure. So the most surprising thing to me was really the fears and doubts the kids expressed about robots and jobs and the changes that would have for society. I suppose coming from a technologist perspective, we tend to look at the upsides of lots of things, and we see opportunities for eliminating repetitive tasks or supporting old people, or lots of opportunities like that. And so I think it was really good to show that we need to engage with people to figure out what these concerns are and address them, certainly in terms of our ethical approach to design and all those things, but also to understand what those concerns are in specific so that we can address them, because otherwise we could just kind of blunder along ignoring them.
Yeah, and I think it really shows we've learned very much this year around the importance of co-creation, working with intended participants in the workshops, whether for Discuss AI, the Citizen Thinkings or AI in My Life. So it really is vital to us that we have community or school partners that are working with us in the creation of content for our various activities. I don't see any further questions coming in, so maybe we'll leave it there for this morning. So I'll just thank our speakers this morning, who I think have given a good insight into the aims of DiscussAI and creating our future, and the real benefits from a researcher perspective and also from a citizen or civic organisation from participating in a campaign such as this. So just to thank everyone for attending today. And we really look forward to, from next week, we have our first event, to welcoming you along to the events and participating in the wider Creating Your Future campaign. So thank you very much, everybody.